Hello and welcome to Trust Your Glitter podcast. This is Christy. I'm here with the astrology of June the 17th through the 23rd. And I just want to note that today is Father's Day in the United States. So I want to say happy Father's Day for those who celebrate. And also today, the 16th, Venus is square Neptune, and it's very pertinent to the week ahead because this week, when I look at the astrology, there is a very distinct level of timing that goes on with the astrology of the week ahead. And generally, I don't really talk about the times that planets move unless it's a full moon or maybe a transit where I'm like, okay, we need to look at like the timing based off of, like example, we have the summer solstice this week. But the timing of these squares is very pertinent and also pertinent to our evolution of the week. There is a distinct flip of energies, and because we have Venus square Neptune today at 29 degrees Gemini, 29 degrees Pisces for Neptune, we also open up the week the 17th with Mercury in the exact same degree square to Neptune at 29 degrees Pisces. Now, this is the anaretic degree, and the anaretic degree in astrology is the final degree of every sign. In a mutable sign, like Gemini or Pisces, the anaretic degree holds the most power for mutable signs. So every modality has like its most potent degree points. The anaretic degree is important for every sign. In mutable signs, it's like super energy, supercharged, and a lot of valuable information for us. So we kind of have this like weaving together of energies. So Mercury square Neptune 341. Earlier than that, Venus enters Cancer at 2:20 a.m. Then later in the morning, at 5:07 a.m., Mercury enters Cancer, and then even later in the morning, Mercury and Venus align at 0 degrees of Cancer at 8:42 a.m. So it's like for a lot of people it depends on what part of the world you're located, how you're going to feel the shift. For some people, they're completely asleep. So this could be your dreams are working this out, your subconscious is working this out. It really has to deal with like how you're experiencing the timing of this in the world. But it's like Venus square Neptune, Venus enters Cancer, Mercury square Neptune, Mercury enters Cancer, and then Mercury and Venus meet. That's how it weaves together. So why the timing of the 17th is so important is there is a subconscious into consciousness energy that is very confronting this week. And so when I look at the energy of the week, the power word or the power phrase is what we are actually looking at for face value versus maybe the idealization of what something was. And because this week we are in the final days of Gemini season, if you are a later degree Gemini, if your birthday is this week in Gemini season, this is your theme for your solar return. So Gemini's born this week, you have what I would like to call a maturation factor. In fact, this week is giving us a theme for Cancer season, which is we are growing into maturity. In any level of our life, there's something that's being matured. There's something that's being ripened in our lives. For Geminis, this is a year assignment, your Gemini season to Gemini season assignment. For everybody else, this is a seasonal assignment. So you're going to really, really have to look at this from a perspective of growth. And last week was pretty in the trenches. This week is a little bit different. So there might be things that get started this week that get put into pieces. It might be you pick up something and you have to put it down. Push-pull energies. Because the energy of mutable energy from Gemini season is moving and trying to flow. And then we have kind of this hard pull into Cancer season. And then we have a full moon that, again, is very confronting. So it's just this kind of like a pulley week. And we are in between where we are leading into a nice new moon. But right now we still have homework to do. There is beautiful manifestation that can happen. But what we're ultimately being shown is things that we really need to take care of for ourselves in order to move forward from something that navigated us away from our life path. And a lot of times this has to do with trauma. This has to do with family trauma. And I specifically say family trauma because we are entering Cancer season. So Cancer season is the energy of the moon, the energy of the mother. And Cancer season starts for us on the 20th of June at 4:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The immediate day after, we are followed by a full moon at 1 degree of Capricorn on the 21st at 9:08 p.m. And thing about this upcoming summer solstice is there's a lot of assignments ahead. So when I did my astrology podcasts for the astrological new year, the spring equinox, and even from our winter solstice, I was looking at 2024 as really having to assess the quarters. So we're entering a new quarter. We're also entering a new astrological season this week. So as I look at like the theme of Cancer season, the theme of Cancer season for us is, again, really, we're going to be looking at family roots and what nurtures us versus what other people told us was nurturing. You know, what habits did we pick up from other people in our generational lineage, or anything related to coping mechanisms. There is a theme of the 8th house. It's a Cancer 8th house summer solstice chart. It puts the moon, which is important to look at because this is a lunar astrological season of Cancer. The moon is in Sagittarius in the 2nd house, and the ascendant, the rising energy, is in Scorpio at 14 degrees Scorpio. So it's building on something where we're going to have to go really internal. So it's interesting looking at Cancer season and the quarter up until the next season, which will be September 22nd when we go into the fall equinox. This summer is going to be interesting for a lot of people because there is a lot of reflection energy. There is a lot of turning deeper, extending more psychological evaluation. And I think that's very helpful to know, especially if you feel a little bit more like removed from other people's energy. It is supposed to feel a little bit more excommunicative, a little bit more like getting away from the loud noise, really asking yourself what you need to know about situation and situations. And this is global as well. There's a lot of like what goes on in front of us we really need to reflect on and ask what actually is affecting us on the inside. There's a lot of human psychology happening right now and a lot of confrontation with trauma, but it's taking things a level higher than what we experienced in 2023. This is also looking at things from the point of, now that you see the things you can't unsee, how do you assess this from a point of like not being a victim of it and taking control and being in your ultimate strength? So this is a really important week because I would see this as a turning point. So I also want to point out that we have a blue moon. So a blue moon is one of two things. A blue moon is, first, if we have 2 full moons in the same month. The next is if we have 2 full moons in the same sign. So this particular series, we have a full moon in Capricorn on the 21st. And then we have a beautiful, nice new moon in Cancer on the 5th of July. And then we have a full moon at the anaretic degree of Capricorn at 29 degrees of Capricorn on the 21st of July. This is going to be a really important timing for us. So with Venus, I discussed that Venus and the new moon in Gemini is bringing us around a lot of gifts. We're also simultaneously going to be letting go of something. So for all the new things that come into our life, we have some past stories and cycles we have to kind of cut away. And this season for Cancer is about really sitting with a lot of Saturnic karma. With that, this is responsibility karma, father karma. This is, father that raised you karma, or the father that, if you're a father listening to this, that you've grown into being, that you've matured into. And this week, I think, gives us a nice seed to see that, this kind of pie in the sky outlook, I don't want to use the word delulu, but there is like a coming to truth about a certain delulu factor that was going on in your life, where you have to really say, okay, this is the reality on how to achieve something. So it's like you have this dream, this vision. When the vision board you've put something on the vision board and you've been looking at it. This is a time where the tangible reality becomes like, okay, well, how much do you want to train for this? How far do you want to go for this? What are the details that are required to actually do this? Because it's not just about, okay, now it's just a vision. It's about, okay, now it's about how does the ideal become a reality? And on the flip side of this, if somebody was not showing you their true selves, this is a season to season thing on more like summer to fall. So in the fall, we're going to confront a lot of relationships that are maybe romantic based. So if anybody's like, in like summer love vibes, there is a flip for that too. And I need to say that because we're going to have eclipse series, and we're going to have a lot of Libra relationship energy. This is months away. So I just want to prepare people for that, because I like to look at kind of everything on like, what are we evaluating on every level. And so when I was looking at the levels of this, the levels to this shit include A, we're entering Cancer season. B, we're entering a new season, a new seasonal cycle. And the realistic factor, I would say, with the full moon, is also forgive yourself for certain things this week. Forgive yourself for really wanting to make things perfect. Because of all the squares to Neptune, nobody's perfect. We're all here on assignment. We were all given, you go into something. I saw this like meme that was like, it was about failure. Because I've been, I have a lot of Capricorn and Saturn in my chart. So I'll say from a personal level, like, I'm really hard on myself when I fail. I really beat myself up. I self-sabotage when it comes to like making mistakes, and there's just a level to that for those who get it. For those who don't have a lot of Saturn or Capricorn in your chart, it might not resonate. But I saw this meme about it, and it was like showing like a dartboard, and there was just like little darts all over the board, and it was like, and then there was this other one where there was a blank dartboard with no darts, and it was just like, failure is not this, pointing to the dartboard with the darts everywhere. Failure is this, pointing to the dartboard with nothing on it. And I thought of that myself, because as I've gone through my goals, it's like you're throwing darts and it's in like a room where you can't see anything. None of the lights are on. You're just like, all right, I got this goal. All right, throwing the dart. Is the dartboard that way? Okay, that way. And, as you get closer and closer to like going for your goal, you see how to really refine it. And so there is this clarity and confrontation around, oh fuck, I did that, I took a loan out, I did that, I'm in debt, and I know that, we've been on a lot of faith, and Jupiter is still in Gemini. So there is this sort of blind faith factor with Jupiter still, which I love. But this week can also feel like there is no corner to turn. There is no help to get. Like, it's you who's really in charge. And that is confronting, because when you recognize that you are the only thing in your life holding you back, or you are the only thing in your life who's able to get you forward, it can be scary. And so that's kind of what this full moon is trying to illuminate for us. It's trying to tell us, hey, like, you are the you in your story. You are the you that's here to really change things for yourself. It can be a very intense energy to work with, but we have a good amount of time. This is step one. So this week is kind of saying, okay, like, you see it. And now that you see it, now you can work with Venus constructively, because Venus is also in the sign of Cancer, and so is Mercury. So Venus is saying, hey, like, I was just in the sign of Gemini. There is was a more happy-go-lucky vibe, and now it's about, all right, cardinal sign, how do you take leadership? All right, the moon is going to be changing phases every 2 days, so how do we work with the emotions of this? And it's really just being a lot more mature about everything, and being like, okay, like, do you need to sign up for classes? Do you need to take a couple sessions on how to refine your gifts? Do you need to go into training? Do you need, like, what do you need to do? And, do the research about it, because it's really about a lot of, like, taking those steps that are right for you and for your life. So it is going to be a very helpful week. It's one that's going to keep on building on itself. And I just want to say thank you so much for listening to Trust Your Glitter podcast. You can find me, Christy Belich, on YouTube, Rumble, Patreon, and Substack. And thank you so much. Take care.